Round of 8. Bunny. DRG. SOS. Trap. 2021 GSL Season 2. Code S. Africa TV. Freak Up Studio Live. 2021 GSL Season 2.
Tonight we start the round of 8 for the GSL Code S Season 2. An amazing 2 best-of-5s is what we're going to be going into. How you doing, Artosis?
I'm doing fantastic.
I like your haircut, first of all. You look great.
Thank you.
You clean up all right?
Thank you. You're so kind. You need a haircut, you long-haired hippie.
Yes, I am truly out of control, man. I'll be following your way pretty soon. I'll be getting a haircut actually this week.
Well, I hope so. I can, like, it's so long I can almost braid it, Jesus.
Tonight we got DRG versus Bunny, and then SOS versus Trap. It's going to be an amazing evening. Bunny, the Terran player who actually has survived this far, interestingly enough.
Yeah. Is he taking over the best Terran role?
I don't know if this is an anomaly or a sign of change that is to come here.
Well, the more consistent an anomaly becomes, the less anomaly the consistency becomes.
The less anomalous. Yeah, Bunny versus DRG. I actually do think DRG is slightly favored here. DRG really does make this matchup look like when he plays Zerg, he has better stats on all his units.
Yeah, something like that.
Bunny, though, is, I would say, in the best iteration of Bunny that we've ever seen. He's playing his mind out. He's playing his heart out. He's looking fantastic. And right now, the pressures of the Terran race rest on his shoulders. This is an unusual player to have as the last guy repping the race. You would be thinking more of, like, you know, in this situation, like your TY, your Maru, maybe your Innovation. But no, it's Bunny. And this is going to be, I think, his biggest test yet here, especially in the modern era of Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, it is. If he can make something happen here, that's going to be amazing for him. Really kind of cementing his new ranking within the scene. But yeah, like when I look at this bracket, I see all sorts of possibilities. All sorts of possibilities, right? With Bunny versus DRG, I feel like it could go either way. SOS could upset Trap. I think it's definitely a possibility. And when you start looking at all that, it's like, oh my god, like, actually, any of these 4 has potential to get to the finals.
Yeah. And a lot of interesting narratives could be coming from this. It's a tough one to call, other than that Trap easily looks the best in the Sailor hat.
Well, I thought you were going to say the best with his play, because he does. But the Sailor hat as well.
Why don't you stay on topic, Artosis? We're talking about this hat here and how good he looks in it.
Very low ranking. Maybe it's because he hasn't won a GSL.
Yeah, Trap, I think you're right. He's looking the best. Oh, hold on, guys. Quick interview, then we'll hop into our games.
The first match of tonight will determine the first player to move on to round 4 of 2021 GSL Season 2. And these 2 players are versing each other for the first time in a best of series. They are Team MV Bunny and Team MV DRG. Congratulations. Hello. Hello. So Bunny, you first. You have made it to your round of 8 twice in a row, 2 seasons in a row. And you're the only Terran left right now. So how do you feel, Bunny? Well, thinking of myself as the last Terran, you know, I do feel a little pressure. But it doesn't mean too much for me. You know, I'm just gonna play at my best level, and I'm not gonna care about it. Maru, Dream, the Terran powerhouses are all eliminated, and you are the only one. What do you think might be the reason for that? You know, I don't think I'm better than those 2, but I did practice more than others. But you know, I think my practice was very important in my result. Alright, DRG. You have made it to your round of 8 after 2 seasons. How do you feel?
레더 위주로 접근은 게임 양이 다라고 생각해서.
You know, I've been practicing the ladder. You know, I think for Zerg, the amount of practice matters the most.
16강까지 무려 테란만 다
From Code A to round of 16, you have defeated Terran after Terran. And you have been very instrumental in making Bunny the only Terran player in the round of 8. And the fate of the last Terran player remains in your hands, DRG. So anything you want to say?
뭐 리그 마지막 테란이라서.
Well, I mean, Bunny is the last Terran of the league.
4강 가는 게 뭐 보시는 입장에선 좋을 수도 있겠지만.
So, you know, for the viewers' perspective, Bunny going to round of 4 might be the better thing. But, you know, I do want to beat him today.
재미있다고 말할 만큼 잘 준비해서.
And today will be an exciting match, and I want to play at the best level today. And you just said that you don't want to make a Terran player in the round of 4. Okay. So before we get into the actual match, anything want to say to each other? Bunny, you first. You know, I used to always scrim with DRG when I was playing against Zerg. You know, I'm not too worried because he's my teammate. And one of us will eventually advance, so I'm not worried at all. Let's have an exciting match. What about you, DRG? Well, likewise, we know each other well. Whoever advances, he advances to round of 4, and hopefully that player will move on to grab the finals as well. Bunny has defeated Rogue to get here, and DRG has defeated Innovation to get here as well. What will be the fate of the last Terran player? We'll see now.
Tasteless, that interview, like where they're both like, yeah, well, we're friends, we're on the same team, you know, one of us is going to advance the round of 4, and that's really great, and we're not really worried about it. I don't understand it. Like, listen, if you and I were playing in the round of 8, and she's like, "Do you have any final words?" I would say, I was considering killing Tasteless last night with a mask on, so that I could go to the round of 4.
And I would be saying something like, I will kill Artosis and then wear his face as a mask so I can carry him with me into the round of 4. But no doubt I will be killing him and tearing his face off. Sometimes I see these interviews and it's like, hey, you know,
yeah, it's all good.
All right.
Like, isn't it your job and your passion and everything to make it onto the next round? Dude, I could be playing like my children or my wife or something. Like, I want to destroy him.
He's like, it's just a game, man. It's not a big deal. I'm like, all right, I guess it's a good thing it's just a game. We mic'd you guys up. And
it's a video game, Tasteless. Yeah. Literally a video game.
It's not even a physical sport. That's the next thing I need to say.
It's not even a physical
someone
sport.
take the mics away from them right now. Yeah, I do think this is going to be a good match, but I get the impression these guys are actually pretty close. And maybe they don't want to say any choice words. Maybe they aren't pieces of garbage like you and me, Artosis. Maybe that's what's going on.
Well, listen, Tasteless. As we've seen in the Pacific Ocean, garbage rises to the top.
It's true. It's true. Who will ultimately be that pile of garbage the size of Texas in the Pacific Ocean? Well,
that's us, Tasteless.
That's us.
We're that garbage. we're the island of garbage, Tasteless.
Don't let anybody take that from you, Artosis.
Never.
Remember who you are. A giant pile of
movie.
Unnatural garbage destroying all life around you.
Yeah, man. Remember Fraggle Rock with that giant pile of trash?
That's right.
Sneak by? That's us, Tasteless.
So this is going to be a best of 5. Again, Bunny's the last Terran left. Both these guys eliminated players. I would say they hit way above the belt, punched way above their weight.
Yeah. To beat Beyond and Rogue. That's like, those are very good gamers right there.
They are quite the gamers.
They're excellent gamers.
And
both world champions.
They're here now. Somebody's going to go on to the round of 4. It should be noted, if Bunny does not make it, there will be no more Terrans.
What?
That's right. The humans will have lost.
But who cares? Because then his teammate DRG makes it, and that's really great because they're friends.
We're going to start this out on Light Shade, then Romanticide, Oxide, 2000 Atmospheres, and Blackburn. Bunny versus DRG in this best of 5. The winner is the first player to survive to the round of 4 in Season 2 of the GSL Code S.
Team NV, Bunny. Team NV, DRG.
All right. I'm excited just to see what these guys want to bring. I think I have a very good idea of what DRG is going to do. He's a little bit more reactive. He did have that weird series against Keen where he was going Ling Bane Muta against Mech, and then we thought, you know, Dream was going to, because he's a great Mech player, try to go Mech against him a lot to bait that out because it wasn't super strong. But he had Roach play prepped for that. I think he learned some lessons from those series as well. So I think he's just going to bring a very solid style and the appropriate counters. Now, Bunny, well, why I was saying that is because it's like I'm not very excited to see what DRG will do because I kind of know what it's going to be. But with Bunny, that's where it gets interesting. And look at this. It's a command center first, straight up, no wall, no nothing. It's going to get away with it perfectly. Yeah,
This is, I don't know, I think the whole thing overall great.
it's a good opener, right? Like
Open
game
up.
1, you're kind of saying, hey, maybe you want to be aggressive against me. You want to bait them into things like pool first, you know?
Sure, yeah. I mean, if they
Because
go
regular
pull
builds
first
will just
and then,
stop that.
and then you're gonna stop that with a more ordinary build later on. That's great.
And look, he even goes across with the SCV to make sure at the timing of the hatchery so he knows exactly what he needs to defend against. There's no Lings on the way already, so well done by Bunny. Nice opener, I think. He's won the opener mind game of game 1.
Yeah, and we've seen a couple players do stuff like this. And I always think it's a wise move to do at the start of a best of 5, because unlike a best of 7, I mean, obviously you have more games that you need to win than a best of 3, but there's not a long enough amount of time where when you start to show your normal play, if you're playing very well, they're going to have enough time to respond game after game after game. And so to take a build like this and just cut ahead of the line as far as development goes and force DRG to play from behind, you're completely right, Artie. It's like they have to now think about a lot of different factors, like will he do this again? Do I want to do an early pull? Am I going to get tricked if I do try to do that?
Yeah.
Where I think had you done this in a, let's say a game 3 when you're down 0-2, that could have completely backfired, right?
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, I like that statement. But also, I think the player he's playing against, this is a really fair opening for the first game. DRG is not someone that I would put on a game 1 cheese.
Whereas someone
Rogue
like
or
Dark, yeah,
those are the guys where it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like they might literally go like 1 base Ravager against you here. Like those 2 are Sue, you know, like those 3 Zergs in particular who are great macro Zergs, but also are more likely to mix in a very aggressive play in game 1.
DRG tends to open up best of 5s with a much more kind of a feeler build.
He doesn't have as big a range as the other Zergs, honestly.
No, well, I think what he is really powerful at is having insane mid-game into late game. But he doesn't, I mean, we don't see him doing these night assault-ins. We don't see him going pool right away and trying to run in there with Lings and surprise the player. And I think Bunny prepped for this very well and is in a very good spot now.
Yeah, and look, what he's doing here, this is going to be a hellback custom shell push. He's getting a Viking first to push Overlords away so that it's harder to scout. This is cool, man. I'm excited. Oh, he's trying to hide those Marauders.
Yeah, this Overlord should have enough time to see this Marauder come
He cancels
out. It. Wow.
That's actually a good play.
Yeah, Bunny's playing really well.
Yeah.
It's all very subtle.
It kind of, oh, and he left that. Okay, just leaving that there. If you are DRG, you need to prep right now. Look, he throws down his spine. because you would never pull from that Overlord unless you were hiding something.
The mistake that was made here was actually you should have killed that Overlord, then gone back to kill the other Overlord, then canceled the Marauder, then made the Marine. He would have masked it better, but the fact that he left that Overlord with a few HP basically gives away what Bunny's doing. I'm glad you caught that, Artie.
Yeah,
and now comes the Hellbat Marauder push.
Yeah, now it seems like a good spread of queens here. He made that spine, so that's really nice. A little bit of a counterattack. These Lings not really needed for that attack, but the Marine going to stifle them a little bit. More SCVs being pulled for that repair. Does kill off the SCV, making the command center, so that's a bit annoying as well. And yeah, it seems like a very strong hold. And again, I think that a lot of this just comes down to that strong scout, you know, forcing a small mistake out of Bunny. But you know, these are the tiny plays that you're going to see at the top of the world. Love it. Now double Evo is on the way, pretty closely in sync with the 1-1 eBays. It's got a beautiful set of queens. Fourth base is being taken, layer on the way. And it's not like that, you know, making the armory and getting concussive shells. It's not like that's going to put Bunny way behind, right?
No.
He actually still has these units. He's still going to try to do something with them. Oh, that would be huge.
That actually would be a pretty big catch. I wasn't even really thinking about, because we don't normally have anything that can kill buildings.
He should have transfuses, though.
He does. Does he actually have enough, though?
Oh, no.
I guess not. So that denies armor. You know, normally when you see the eBays placed like that, the reason why they're there is because they just stop Hellions from moving in and killing the drones. But when you have Marauders, suddenly buildings can actually be killed.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Marauders are actually what allowed him to power that down, so it's not something you're really expecting. Wow, but +1 carapace. Like, if you lose +1 melee, you're like, oh, that's too bad. But you lose +1 carapace, that's actually game-changing.
Things melt so much faster.
Yeah, the carapace upgrades are so important for
The TDZ fights are all about just getting enough stuff melted off before it touches you that you end up winning the game. So that's actually huge.
That is huge. Oh my god, tasteless.
It's 3
What does
tanks.
Bunny always do?
He always puts his tanks in the medevac.
But how many?
It's normally 2.
And now it's 3? Oh, this guy's going to be a GSL champion.
This is his final form.
Dude, this is a whole new Bunny. 3 tanks here. She's like, no, it should only been 2. How do you get 3 in there? Ah!
He's coming forward now. And this is going to be another armor upgrade denial.
Oh, man.
DRG, he may crumble here if he can't stop this right now. Oh my god, the Lings surround. It's not quite good enough. The Marines are still barely hanging on. The tanks are still shelling the Queens.
Dude, 3 tanks, it's unstoppable. You see DRG shaking his head there.
Yeah, this is, I think, the tipping point. GG, Bunny takes game 1. What next? 4 tanks and 2 medevacs?
Tasteless, don't you even say something like that. Do you even know the powers that you are screwing with right now, Tasteless? Do you even have any idea?
Bunny, he did it. He had a great push. You know, a lot of times you see that Hellbat push, even the type where you incorporate 2 or 3 Marauders. I think usually it's actually 3, but he had to cancel one. But and it all comes down to whether or not it's held there. But he did a great job of dropping in the main. He then hit that Evo chamber, hiccuping the armor upgrade. And again, we were talking about you just have to have enough armor, enough units to surround, and eventually the damage spikes exponentially and the Terran loses. The push came from Bunny, and he managed to close it out. Beautifully done. Bunny up with a 1-0 lead with the weight of Terran on his shoulders.
Damn.
So far, DRG has not been a threat. Let's go to Romanticide for game 2 and see where this best of 5 takes us.
Team NV, Bunny. Team NV, DRG.
Pretty wild game there. There was actually so much going on in that game. It's really impressive. Just the read by DRG, the fact that Bunny pulled back when the push wasn't working, which is always awesome to see. A lot of times people are just like, no, we're going, and then they lose all their Hellbats and they don't have anything else. But the Hellbats, like you mentioned, helped him to kill off the Evo. He did a poke into the main base, which actually drew Queens away from the Evo, so he got the Evo, and then the 3 tank, that's actually like hilarious.
Well, it's funny
because that's something I would write if I was writing about Bunny.
Yeah. We were joking about it, but honestly, it is like, oh, he's doing it, but even harder now. Okay.
Yeah,
like
the amount of 2 tank pushes that he's done.
Yeah.
With 2 tanks in the medevac.
I've been
like every game.
I've been criticized for pointing this out, where I'm like, yeah, but I mean, he is the guy that does that, right? Like we've seen it so many times. And now what's funny is we see it with 3, and he actually crushes DRG, and it's like, okay.
It's kind of fun, yeah.
By the way, in case you guys are wondering why he does it, it's so that it's not obvious it's actually a committed push yet. You might think it's roaming or dropping or something like that, and
There's
then
no
suddenly,
reason to have the tanks on the ground, honestly. I think it's a good move.
There really actually isn't.
Just conceal.
Unless you can't multitask enough to deal with it, but then I guess that's a different problem you're dealing with. Oh, that's not good. So this is going to be a bunker rush, and again, I think Bunny playing the best of 5 brilliantly. He was greedy in game 1, now he's hyper aggro in game 2. This is going to be slightly hiccuped from the Terran just because he had to cancel a Marine, and that does matter in a game of the pacing of StarCraft 2.
Ooh, nice micro here from Bunny, but the drones are surrounding reasonably well. Oh my god, 5 drones killed, Tasteless, 6 drones killed.
And
he's
the
gonna finish
bunker's
the
going to finish. We don't know if the Marines can actually get there, but again, this only means that Zerg has to double down on committing to holding off the rush over here, because if he does not, that bunker is going to fill up. Right now, Bunny with great stutter step micro, but the Lings are really beginning to outnumber the Marines.
Yeah, look at that. Two Lings there that are super duper.
Oh, wait. Can this one get... He can't get up there, right?
So he holds, but Tasteless, it's 9 drones dying. That is really, really painful.
Yeah, and he can actually place the Marines behind the barracks, so he doesn't have to give up on this position, but you would have to imagine eventually... Okay, here we go. I was going to say eventually these barracks are going to have to go back home. They don't have a lot of functionality right outside the Zerg's base. And so the Zerg is trying to catch its breath here. It's trying to stabilize and get some more drones out and get production back up to normal. Bunny transitioning, I would say, very cleanly out of this, and now teching up.
Yeah, it feels to me like this was pretty decent for Bunny. He killed a lot of drones there. He forced those Lings out. You know, there's now a spine as well, and obviously DRG has a couple hatches, so he can kind of replace these things. But yeah, I think Bunny having a good opening. Starport going to finish here shortly. Oh man, things continue to go poorly for DRG. He doesn't have enough to stop this on the map. What's he got? He's got like 2 Lings or something. It's really... Throws down the spine for some zoning. 3rd CC starting up here. Medevac is on the way.
I like that he's kept... Bunny has kept enough of a presence on the map where he can still kind of box DRG around, and then he throws the 3rd CC down. I think pacing-wise, this is all looking very good for Bunny. Again, Bunny really bringing out the best iteration of himself. That's been my takeaway so far. DRG is doing a pretty good job, and he's putting up a pretty good fight, but right now I like everything I'm seeing from Bunny.
Yeah, no, he is playing really well, man. And he has been throughout the whole tournament, and it's really, like, it's been a few seasons now where he's played very well, and it's kind of funny because I actually thought he might retire like a couple years ago because he was not even making it into GSL every season. It just felt like, well, you're the 9th best Korean Terran and you're just not doing that well, and it's really sad and painful. But you can really see this just constant improvement that he's going through right now, and he looks amazing. His choices, his micro, his macro, his strategies. Completely impressed with this guy.
Now, the way that Bunny's playing this out is quite different from the last game. Last time we had, you know, a setup for a very strong push that basically took the Zerg out at the legs, and then the follow-up attack was the closing kill. This time around, Terran's going for some light harass, trying to take 3 bases and develop into a very, very powerful kind of push that will come much later on in the game. So this means DRG has a little bit more room to find his way, a little bit more room to breathe on the map here, because there's not going to be a real devastating push coming out. Just harass like this, and again, nicely done, kills off 2 drones.
Yeah, totally worth. use a Hellion, whatever. DRG is getting a decent worker count right now. Going up to that layer as quickly as he can. Double eBay is going to be finishing up here for Bunny, so he's just going to continue down this macro road. We'll see with DRG's side. Like, I think he's just going to go quick Spire. He should be thrown down the Baneling Nest about now. Because I don't think that there's any option for any silliness like, you know, Nidus or anything like that. I don't think anything like that's possible. And especially with, like, a Banshee out, like, what a nice continuation.
Yeah, well,
the theory behind it was good.
The idea is good,
not.
but you got to keep it alive. It's so that's a win there for DRG. Takes that out. The threat's gone. Really, you want the medevac flying around in the Banshee on the opposite end, and you're trying to hit from different sides and see, you know, if there's going to be a location where DRG's attention is not really devoted to, and maybe you kill some workers that way. So the third CC's landing. And I do feel like this push may be a little bit premature. 1-1's far away. The third base has just landed, and so SCVs are going to be transferred there. You kind of want to wait. It might sound weird. Basically, you need to have SCVs soak up enough of the minerals to then have gained enough to have the extra barracks to then have enough of a stronger push. Generally speaking, if you push right after a command center's landed like this,
it's normally the worst time.
It's, yeah, what we'd call an anti-time, and especially with attack and armor far out enough.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit worried for Bunny here. This does seem a bit premature.
The one decent thing about what he's doing here, though, is that the Spire wasn't done when he moved out. It's like almost done now. But he's got like this little period of time where there's no Baneling speed, no mutas. So like, DRG stuff is weak until then, but he's not going to get that much done, honestly, right?
Yeah, no, I just don't think this is going to work at all. Now, he can target the Bane, the one Bane that's left.
He's whittling a bit down, right? Like, a lot of the muta energy's gone. He hasn't really lost that much. He's lost, like, a tank, maybe a couple of units. There's almost no energy left on the Queens. It's going to make spreading creep just slightly worse. But with 7 mutas on the way, I don't think these medevacs are going to get out alive.
Yeah, instead he's going to basically commit over here. There are 2 Evo chambers that are making. Looks like he wants to basically get above this area. And
well, with the mutas here, this is
just not going to work.
Not looking super hot for these Marines and medevacs. So, yeah, maybe just a bit of an overcommitment with this push.
Well, it just doesn't seem like it. You know, the math is really there. You know, as far as ideas go, the army kind of was at 12 o'clock and had you know, trying to create a threat, but it just seems like the Zerg is going to eventually be able to propel this away, and so that's what happened. And when you start to give up chunks of army like this, you got to start to worry a little bit here. And now he's going to actually commit over here into a push inside the main. And I think that really all the exciting stuff we saw happen here from Bunny is starting to go away as DRG is basically getting to where he usually needs to be to dominate in a TVZ.
And with losing those medevacs as well, like that felt like he was looking to get in there as the mutas were about to hit his base. Instead, he gets cleaned up instantly. He is making another command center, getting drilling claws. 2-2 is on the way. So there are, like, Bunny's macro is still going, but we've now seen about 40 supply that's just kind of been, hasn't done very much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if 40 supply, like you add that to what he has, and suddenly you're looking at a max out 2-2 timing push that doesn't exist anymore.
Ooh, misstep there by DRG though, gonna lose some mutas, and that tank had something like 5 hit points left. Pretty insane moment. DRG looking for an opportunity to do any extra damage. Does not quite manage to get the refinery, and it's gonna be repaired in time. So the second almost little victory.
Sometimes it's better to hurt things than to kill them. It instills fear in your opponents.
Well, it would have been nicer had he pulled away a little bit sooner, but instead, he hasn't really gotten much done with these mutas. He doesn't necessarily have to get a lot done right now with it, but he did hemorrhage quite a bit in that fight. Now, we're seeing DRG power up to Ling Muta Bane on a very extreme level. Oh, these Widow Mines.
Well, just pulls back right there. There is a Thor on the way, more Widow Mines as well. 2-2 is going to be finishing here pretty shortly. Supply starting to peak up on both sides. Creep spread looking pretty solid. It's going to take him a little bit to get through that.
Yeah, the Muta's going to come in now. They're beginning to hit this base down here at the third. Going for the armory, I really like this.
That's a good pickoff, actually. Yeah, that's really annoying. Now he can't start 3-3. Now it's a lot easier to get rid of some of these Widow Mines.
But Terran's going to just counter push, which sometimes is the best way to deal with Mutas. But is this actually going to be enough here in the northern spot to take this on? The Muta's now just going to wreak havoc over here at the fourth base where the planetary is. A lot of Banes are being morphed. And basically, Terran needs this position to work. They need to carve out this area up here.
Oh my god. Well, the Mutas are not coming back yet. Okay, just now starting to fly back, but is that going to be
Marauders are so clutch in the front. They're just not dying.
Pulling the Link Bane trying to roll through right now.
Marines all the way in the back.
Oh god, this was not that efficient for DRG, but it seems like it is going to be just enough to hold on.
And behind that, a lot of damage given over to the fourth base. It looks like SCVs are mining from there again, but this is some pretty incredible stuff, Artosis. DRG is looking so terrifying. You know, when he sends his army out, it's like there's a never-ending stream of those Lings and Banes and Mutas coming out.
Yeah.
To the point where eventually they're past all the tanks. They get to the Marines that are already tucked way into the back. And now DRG is going to be going into counterattacks.
Oh man, he's trying to just break through the depots. In fact, will be able to get the Lings in on top of everything, picks off the mines before they burrow, but the counterattack of Bunny is here. The Lings and Banes trying to get through before the mines. Huge mine hit on those Banelings.
This is a big win here for Bunny. Was this a miscalculation here from DRG? Keep in mind that they're actually barely even on bases, but Bunny's got the sustain in the fight over here. The Mutas are driven away.
Oh, this is really painful to try to stop this army right here with the remaining Link Bane Muta. It's going to be difficult. Here come those Mutas now.
Melee attack level 2 is done. This should barely be enough. These Widow Mines are going to be reloaded here. They could connect on these Mutas. They do not. They are cleaned up. An eye for an eye in this game. That top base is picked off. The other bases are not really that pushable, though. There's a lot of creep between the Terran getting a foothold over to the third and them.
I tell you, it feels to me right now that if Bunny just macros and micros cleanly, it's going to be really hard for DRG to get a foothold in this game. He's got to refill all those Lings and Banes. His supply is rather low right now. And with the 2-2 upgrades and the amount of production we see coming out of Bunny, he's making 11 bio units at a time. That's pretty crazy. Like, he is going to field a gigantic army here.
He's going to be coming up over to this position now. And I don't know, man. This actually might be enough. He just needs to get a few more tanks over to this position, a few more Widow Mines. You really need to see, do the Banes and the Mutas connect with their targets? Does DRG have enough? We know the supply is superior here for Terran. It looks like Zerg may try to cut off reinforcements, which is actually not a really bad idea, but this hatchery is so low, it's seconds away from being destroyed.
Banelings trying to roll in here. The Marauders taking as much damage as they possibly can. Going back onto the hatchery. Has to run up and deal with this. Oh, a big mine hit there once again. The Banelings, there's a lot, and they will roll through it all, but again, not the most cost efficient for them.
Yeah, this is quite a neck and neck game. The Zerg does basically survive that attack. The Terran is now growing into that area.
Yeah,
with the main CC going there, there's actually another CC headed up towards a little bit, like about the 2 o'clock position, basically.
Just coming in for some harassment around this planetary. Looks like a juicy place for Banelings, but does he have enough to spare on something like this? Oh, I love this right here. Picking off these Marauders. The Marauders are actually, in a lot of ways, the most difficult to deal with part of this army because they stay in the front, they tank everything, they slow stuff down. The Banelings don't do good damage.
Obviously, they're not a threat to the Mutas, but the fact that they get in the way of the Banes is why it's so smart for the Mutas to then pick them off. Now, I think this attack may blindside DRG. Ooh. He can kill off a couple drones and then immediately just turn fire onto the hatchery, and suddenly this expansion's gone.
Yeah, that is super painful. DRG has remade his third, but...
Well, you know, Bunny's looking a little bit like a TY or a Maru right now in the sense that he's actually pushing out and doing so much damage, and at the same time, he's taking more of the map than the Zerg.
Dude, he's got 6 bases.
Yeah.
He's got 6 bases right now. Very few Terrans can do this.
Yeah, this is one of these moments where you're seeing somebody truly get out StarCrafted, and that one player is just doing everything faster.
Yeah.
You know, they're attacking in more locations, they're pushing out, they're ahead in upgrades, they're expanding more quickly. And it's happening to DRG right now. DRG has been a threat on the map, but he's just not able to keep up. These mutas can't be in this many different places at once.
Well, they're still doing a lot of damage, and I think that's the one thing keeping hope alive for DRG. But it doesn't feel like that it can last forever. His economy is not that large. He keeps losing hatcheries, and Bunny is relentless here. He is mining so much, he is producing so much, and he is non-stop rallying across the map.
Okay, this victory may not be enough for DRG. He'll stop this expansion, but the push is actually coming in here. And with no mutas to pair with the Ling Bane, the splash damage is going to be probably too much. A Thor coming down here to chase those mutas out. I think if DRG loses this position, Artosis, he'll probably lose this game.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Oh.
He has to hold on here, and he's trying, but those Marauders dealing so much damage, really slowing him down. Oh, a lot of mutas falling as he runs away, even takes a mine hit there. Look at this single Marauder with the mine back, a huge mine. Another big mine hit there for Bunny. And DRG, like, you're seeing him just over time, he's not able to get enough out. Just can't quite do the big overwhelms you're looking for at this stage of the game.
And coming in here now, getting that little kill on the Queen, but that's going to be only a distraction because another push is going to come in here, and this is targeted right at this hatchery. The Banes are getting separated from each other. You really need to have everything coordinated at once, like this attack is going to be right here. But Bunny picks up and flies away. Can these mutas catch this? One of these with like 1 HP is so low.
He's dragging it mines! Oh, a huge hit right there.
Oh my God, Bunny going to win this fight.
Yeah,
and now the counter punch is inbound here. GG. Bunny is a beast.
Yeah, yeah. Bunny is looking so strong right now.
Yeah, this is the best we've ever seen him play.
It is. It is. He keeps getting better.
It started out with a bunker rush. Let's not forget that, which can be easily overlooked when you watch it. You know how that game panned out, but really, he had some great. Actually, no, hold on a second. He had some pretty poor pushes even at the start, and DRG seemed to get control of the map.
He kind of threw 40 supply away.
It almost seems like the moment where Bunny mined his main out and then threw that command center out as a third expansion was just too much for DRG to keep up with. DRG used to kind of smashing attack after attack, had too many fires to put out on the map at once, and ultimately Bunny closed that out with an insane push, just garbage compacting DRG on the map. We're going to go to Oxide now for Game 3. Bunny right now in this best of 5 with a 2-0 lead. The winner going on to the round of 4 of the GSL Season 2.
Team NV, Bunny. Team NV, DRG.
Some great plays coming out of Bunny. I'm liking it. It's a very exciting series. A lot of back and forth from these two. I actually think that they are pretty well matched, even though Bunny is winning and looking amazing. You know, some things go wrong for DRG too. You lose 9 drones and have to make a spine and 8 lings at the beginning of the game. That's no fun, right? You can't really get into the game you're looking for there. So I think he had a nice comeback, which ended up not quite working out for him, but very, very cool series so far.
I'm really curious how Bunny's going to play this one out because he went into a very greedy build for Game 1 that came into a very strong Hellbat Marauder push in the end. And then in Game 2 with a bunker rush and some light harass, but basically a 3 command center play, later game pushing style where he really just, over time, almost like a giant arm wrestling match, eventually managed to overcome DRG. In Game 3, this does appear to be sort of middle of the road.
Yeah, it looks actually pretty normal, which is probably the greatest mind game of all.
Goldilocks build. You're gonna copy stuff. Not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, Let's see where he goes with it. I mean, I imagine a factory's just going to come up. There it is. And yeah, just wait a little bit. See how these guys want to continue forward. I think DRG's Mutas did do a very good job in that previous game.
Well, you could see he looks very strong when he gets to the place of the game that he wants to be. But
his Mutas were, I think, he's very good with the harassment and in general knowing when to come back. Bunny was just so quick with some of those counterattacks, man. It was awesome to see. It did feel like watching a different Terran player. But in the future, I think it's going to feel like watching Bunny.
it's kind of crazy that this is really the best he's ever looked. You know, even from a week ago or so.
Yeah, he's continuing to improve, man.
This may be his season.
That would be the most insane thing ever. Like we have Trap, Rogue, Dark, all left in this tournament.
Yeah,
that's like
Trap may be too much too. We'll see.
Well, those three, I mean, Maru's out, but other than that, those three are like the next ones, right? those are the guys that you know. How are you going to beat them?
Well, those are the final bosses, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, right now, I mean, he's really making DRG look like he doesn't have any answers to the matchup. We've kind of been casting this from Bunny's perspective, but we should point out here for DRG, I mean, DRG doesn't generally do a lot of really obtuse builds early on to try to get a build order advantage. In fact, he's not really much of a build order advantage player. That's never been his style.
Never.
Instead, it's usually to just be very solid early and then get into the place where, you know, his mastery can actually take form. And you know, it's an older style that has worked for a long time, which is to sit on Lingbane Muta, but he's made it work so well against certain players. But Bunny seems to be able to hold his own against it. And Lingbane Muta, you got to be very careful with it. I mean, if you're not paying attention to your army, everything could suddenly die. Some Banes connect, everything explodes. Mutas will just catch your medevacs if they're full. It's a very punishing style, but it can be dealt with if the multitasking is there.
Well, both the previous games had kind of strange early games that didn't allow DRG to get into the spot that he wants, right? So this game that's a lot slower, it's like it's going to have some harassment. A medevac's coming, you know, that has some Hellions in it. He's trying to lure the Queens out with those, so maybe a lot of damage gets done. Let's see. But if this doesn't do a lot, then we get to like really kind of see if Bunny can do this in a more regular situation. Right, 2 drones, whatever. It's all good.
Queen's going to try to catch this medevac. He will get away. Those Queens will be far too slow off creep to get it.
And look, it's a big macro play here from DRG as well. He starts 1-1 before getting Spire / Baneling speed, right? That's always kind of the choice when you're going for this style. But yeah, this is, I think that this will be in like a very telling game. Because if Bunny wins this, it's like, okay, well, you are just full package TVZ right now, my friend. It's one thing to throw a Zerg off at the beginning and finish them off in these ways that we've seen, and that's very impressive. But yeah, when DRG gets to drone as he wants, and he's not like behind in some weird, obscure way that you practice for and maybe he has not, that's when I want to see if you can kill him.
Yeah, that's what I'm also excited about, Artosis, is basically seeing if, you know, we've seen 2 very different ranges of play, but the one that's straight down the middle of the road, which is really like, I'm not even doing anything fancy. I'm just trying to match you. Let's see if you cut corners or, you know, how the rest of this game goes. And so far, Bunny looks fine.
Yeah, and some great creep clearing right there. He got like 3 active tumors and another tumor, so really nicely done. Look at this, we actually have Burrow on the way. An additional base plus macro hatch, I believe we're seeing from DRG, or is it double expanding right now?
Now we
had it's macro hatch in there too, so kind of exciting.
We had a push that sort of looked like this in the last game. Obviously, the early games are totally different, and that should be noted. But DRG just doesn't normally have any problems with early pushes like this, where it's Marine and Tank.
Yeah, it actually should be noted he skipped Spire altogether. Like, he is just going for the Lingbane clean type of play. So the Lings, I mean, it's a lot of Lings. The Baneling's not really connecting here.
Oh, he's going to be okay because there's a third tank all the way up here.
That's
and now he can actually close in on these tanks. And, you know, as Artosis mentioned, we don't have the Spire tech with us. This is a different approach. It's one where you kind of want to bulldoze him, but it did not seem to work out so well back there. And some Banes are going to finish. The tank's going to come forward. I'm not clear on if there's another tank north of the screenshot or not, but it's important to know if there is, because basically you want to have as much spacing as possible, as many areas to run to as you can.
Now
and this is going to get sandwiched for sure.
Yeah, he is going to smash through this. There are some Hellbats spread within, which is kind of a cute play. But definitely enough here for DRG this time. Holds on. It's important to note that this is not a 4th base that Bunny's pushing, but he has 5 bases right now, DRG does. Which is, it's like an important fact, right? Like, so even if he ended up losing that, it has almost more to do with how many Lings and Banes he has overall. Because he has to be able to actually overwhelm every army that comes until he has Ultras. I don't think I've seen the Infestation Pit, though, which does make me worried. Hydralisk Den and Infestation Pit at the same time. Is he just gonna rush to Lurker, do you think, off this? I don't generally like just straight Ling Bane into Lurker.
Yeah, well, this is such a deviation from what he's been doing. I guess he can't be blamed for that because he's already tried, you know, the style that he was using before, and it did fall a bit flat, didn't it? But I mean, yeah, like, let's see how this goes. I feel like I don't normally think of DRG when I think of this style.
Yeah, he doesn't use this that much. He likes mutas a lot.
It's a bit, yeah. So let's give it some time here. Terran is going to be taking a 4th base. Zerg is still steadily where Zerg needs to be for this phase of the game on 5 bases as Terran is taking the 4th.
5 on the way, as well as that Lurker tech.
Okay, here comes an attack over here. He'll have to lift off for sure. The SCV is going to get out of here quicker.
Bunny does push him back. Creep spread looking really scary.
You know, this Baneling landmine, this could be huge.
Yeah.
Is he going to actually be over this? All right, he'll have to wait for later on.
Not now.
Yeah. And again, you know, when you don't have the mutas to play, you can't get these easy picks. You have to basically force your way into situations.
Whoa. That looked like it was going to be really bad for DRG. Then he actually got some very good connections there. Yeah, and actually almost burns down the command center. Oh my god.
Keep in mind, too, you can't pick the command centers off without the mutas either. I mean, it's one of these things where you just lift up, and honestly, it's very, very easy for the Terran to keep it alive. But he is showing quite a threat here on the ground in general. DRG is one where I think Terran is going to feel pretty stressed to push out anytime soon here. And behind this, honestly, the creep spread's been pretty insane.
He's really got that really far out there. Going to be so hard to kill off any of these bases. He is sending a force down the right side of the map, and that's going to come in a lot closer to the 5th base. So I think he actually has potential to maybe snipe it. Let's see some Banelings rolling in. Well, he snipes it.
All right, he got it, but
hey, I think that's worth.
It's always better if you can snipe those. If you could snipe the Banelings before they get there. And now an attack over here, shut down immediately by forces already present there for Bunny. And it looks like he wants to gather and push into the south again.
But we are getting into a very different phase of the game. There's 8 Lurkers being morphed.
Right.
So as long as he like adds a little bit of muscle, like see maybe some Hydras just walking around with this army, and Vipers, obviously. You always want to have some Vipers in there, but it's very different to play against Lurker or Ling Bane. Right, Ling Bane you can kind of micro against. Lurker, no.
Well, Lurker actually has the ability to hold its own ground here and force the Terran to run away.
Yeah, and as that burrows, it's like, well, you just cannot engage there.
Yeah.
Absolutely
but
not.
You don't have to respect the Lurkers because they can't be everywhere at once. They're not as fluid as some of the other units in the game, and so you can hit in locations like this. And the Lings, they have to come back. They have to help defend, and basically, if you can isolate the Lings, the Banelings from the Lurkers, then you can start to take some real damage here. Or give some real damage, I should say, to the Zerg.
Tell you what, that was, I just saw like 8 Banes kill 1 Marauder. So some efficiency still coming out of Bunny. But as he kind of tightens up his defense here, adding more Lurkers, getting some more Hydras in, or any Hydras in here, as well as the Vipers, it'll become harder and harder, and I think that we need to see Bunny switched up a little bit, go into a lot of tanks. Yeah, he's adding a 3rd factor right now, producing 2 tanks at a time. And the whole way this game is being played, I think, is going to switch it around now, which is definitely appropriate.
Got another nice little attack in here. There is one ready in the bottom right, too, and this is some great kiting here from Bunny. Again, you know, the Lurkers, it's hard to get them situated to the other side of the map. And now he's going to attack it over here as the Lurkers were thinking about moving over to the side. So he forces them back. But look at these Marauders. This is so much damage. He can target down the hatchery. Beautifully done.
Absolutely.
Picks up, runs away.
Dude. Yeah, right-clicking on the hatch with a bunch of Marauders is a good way to kill it very quickly, that's for sure.
Yeah, even if you had a ton of Queens there to transfuse, it still might not work.
And look, Bunny right now, I think that you can say that he's winning. But as long as DRG does not suicide in, I think this game is actually going to go pretty darn long. Because Viper Lurker is a composition from Zerg where you can actually... Oh, no. Okay. It's a composition from Zerg that you can actually be extremely cost efficient with, and it's a composition where you can lose bases and just kind of remake them. Because it's not really as tempo-based as like a Ling Bane. Ling Bane, you lose too many bases too many times, you just can't refill and you can't do it.
That is very true.
Here, it's like you can hold positions, you can get very cost efficient, you can destroy positions very strongly between Blinding Cloud and the Lurkers.
Well, also, I mean, yeah, between the Viper and the Lurker, these are units that when they kill stuff, they don't just detonate like Banes, right? If you shut down a couple bases on Ling Bane, suddenly they donut up with the gas and they... the Zerg kind of fizzles out pretty quickly, but here you're right, there's more sustain, it's more of a fighting composition.
Yeah.
But I don't see DRG getting more of the map here. Basically, this positional setup where they just keep hitting 2 different sides over and over and over, I don't see that slowing down.
Yeah.
And if Zerg pushes out, it only incentivizes the Terran to dive in again to where these Lurkers are not. And the Zerg is never going to take out a base without the Lurkers in a push, whether that's at the 12 o'clock spot or the 3 o'clock spot.
Yeah, but I guess, like, I think Event, he doesn't have to take another base right now. Because, again, he's, like, not losing that many units or anything, doesn't have to refill them as quickly. So, okay, Bunny will force a cancel over here. Maybe that was a little bit greedy. But I think DRG doesn't have to have that right now. Oh my god, he's just running forward. No, this is not going to work at all. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is a lot of Lurkers diving in here, but it's not without cost. I mean, he's managing to make this lift off. The CC, again, not killed. And like I was saying, now the Terran can dive in here down at 6, take this out. The Lurkers are scrambling to come back into position over here. The Marauders and Ghosts now fighting the Queens to siege tank siege up. And I'm not sure how many Lurkers are back there. I want to say something like 6. Let's see. They're coming over here and burrowing, but they're now no longer in range of these tanks.
Yeah, GG is called, and that is a 3-0 from Bunny.
All right,
amazingly played. Goes into the round of 4 off of nothing but pure strength.
Terrans will have to wait to complain until maybe after the round of 4. Sorry, guys. Bunny 3-0ing DRG in a dominating performance. And I'll tell you, man, that was impressive. DRG never loses like that, ever.
Yeah, I think some stuff went wrong in the first 2 games.
Yep.
Third game, I think he was playing well overall, and his Lurker play just wasn't quite as good as his Ling Bane Muta normally is. So he tried to play a slightly alternate style, but I think that last attack wasn't that good. He really should have taken it a bit slower, grinded with the Vipers a bit more. But you know what, DRG is still a great player. We're going to see him back next season. There's no question in my mind that he is going to be a mainstay of GSL Codas until he doesn't want to be anymore.
Bunny carries the torch of the Terran race on into the round of 4. The only Terran in the round of 8 The only Terran now in the round of 4. Go ahead, Andy. Let's
The
go to
last turn player, Bunny, moves on to round of 4. Congratulations, Bunny.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
자, 정말 축하드립니다. 일단
Wow, sincere congratulations, Bunny.
생애 첫 GSL
This is your first round of 4 in GSL.
어떤 기분인가요?
How do you feel advancing?
너무 이번에 이기고 싶었는데
You know, I really wanted to win this time.
약간 처음이어가지고 기분이 되게
And this is my first time, so you know, the feeling of euphoria hasn't come to me yet.
8강에서 세트 승리를 따낸 것조차 처음이거든요.
In the round of 8, it was the first time you acquired a set score as well.
의미 있을까요?
So does this have a special meaning for you?
제가 16강 이번에 할 때는 좀
In the round of 16, you know, I had the confidence to win. I was confident on my skills,
준비도 잘 된
and I made thorough preparation, so I was confident.
준비하면서
But while preparing for the round of 8, it was really hard,
걱정이 많이 되더라고요.
and I was really worried.
그래도 항상 그랬을 때 그냥 준비한 대로 열심히
But
하자
still, you know, I
하는
prepared like I used to,
잘된 것 같아요.
and today my results were good.
옵사이드는요 보는데 안 되면 되게 하라 이런 군대도 생각이 나고.
In offside,
상남자 같았어요.
you were playing like a real man in the
안될
game.
것 같은데도 9시 언덕 타고 계속
You were very
올라가고
aggressive, and it felt like you weren't gonna be able to achieve it, but you ended up achieving it.
자신감인가요?
So was confidence the
어,
big factor in that match, in
네,
the game?
그냥 싸움에 대해서 연습할 때도
Yes, definitely.
할 때마다 좀 잘 됐던 것 같아요.
Every time I engaged in a skirmish, I try to play aggressive, and my results were good.
계속 싸움을 걸었고
And I try to, you know, attack as much as possible. And to be honest, I had some mistakes in the game, but I think I was very fortunate in the end. Your build preparation, your strategizing, your timing attacks were so good. So how did you prepare, Bunny?
연습도 많이 했지만
Well, I did practice a lot,
이번에는 좀 리플레이도 많이 보고
but this time I watched a lot of replays. I analyzed my opponents,
리플레이를 거의 수호 형이랑 한 경기를 한 100경기를 본 것 같아요.
and I pretty much watched like 100 replays of DRG.
네, 로맨티도 수호 형이 항상 자주 그렇게 날리시길래
In romantic side, I know DRG's pattern,
다행인 것 같아요.
so I analyzed that before, and I'm really glad that I have. Wow, your practice and your preparation has bore fruit today, Bunny. And all the remaining players in the round of 4, I mean, and you have beaten very strong opponents in the round of 8 to move on to round of 4. And your first round of 4 opponent will be either Protoss player, SOS, or Trap. Who do you prefer?
형이랑 하고 싶다기보다는 그냥 유진이 형.
Well, you know, rather than wanting to play against SOS, I do want to put up a very exciting match against SOS.
하고 싶어요.
So I do prefer SOS as my opponent in the next round. And your fate as Terran continues, Bunny and King of Day.
팬분들께 너무 감사하고 왜냐면
Well, I'm really grateful to my fans.
꾸준히 응원.
Whenever I underperform, they always root for me. They're always there for me, my fans. I'm also very grateful to my parents and Team NV, of course. And thanks to Ragnarok, Rock, Armani for helping me with the scrims.
고마운 분들께도 마음을 전했는데요. 네. 네, 이동현. 네. 알겠습니다.
All right.
다시 한번
Once again,
세계 4강 진출 축하드립니다.
Congratulations, Bunny. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Wow. 3-0.
Yeah, a little bit unexpected that it would be a 3-0. And, like, honestly, I think DRG still played pretty well overall and could have possibly won under slightly different circumstances. But Bunny continues his rampage. It's insane. He's playing so well.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start really considering him one of the best Terrans in the world.
Yeah, I've been so used to, over the years, kind of having a spot where I always had him. I think everybody who watched GSL did. That's different now. Guys, we have a quick break. We come back, our second best of 5. Don't go away.